Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, welcome back to the Baseball Head 3. And hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So we're going to talk again about the insane asylum WFAN, and we have a couple of guys that have left. They've been given their release, been set free, which is probably the best thing for them. And that's Brandon Team and Sal Licata. This video is about Sal, who I've goofed on for the last 2 years. Because he would have like these spaz outs. I think you all know that. But I feel really bad for these guys because I goofed on them. Not that I feel bad about goofing on them. I feel bad that they both lost their jobs. They both got fired from WFAN because they had to go because Craig Carton was coming back and they had to come back. They had to go. And even Evan Roberts didn't want to team up again with Craig. And he went to the mid-afternoons, the mid-mornings, and that's it. But Sal Licata has revealed a lot of stuff that happened. And Brandon Team did too. I did a video on him. You check it out. I got so many videos on them right now. But this is from the New York Post. Sal Licata opens up on WFAN departure as Craig Carton returns. And one thing he couldn't account for. Now, a couple of things. WFAN's essentially on vacation. From now until January 5th. That's when the new lineup opens up. And is exposed, is revealed to the audience. Same shit, different day. You know how it is. It's the same thing, Making up stuff about the sports figures in New York and in sports in general. Sal Licata has placed his afternoon drive dreams in the rearview mirror. New York radio star opened up on his departure from WFAN following Craig Carton's return to the station in early December. During a Friday appearance on Stugatz and Company, Licata, who hosts the midday slot with Brandon Team, revealed that he wasn't surprised Carton was returning to the station for a third time after his Fox show got canceled in July. Now, I talked a lot about this on the Baseball Head too, and I said his show was in trouble. He was in trouble. But he was shocked to learn that it would come at his expense. I was not. I told Spaz that in my videos. And you can say, well, why are you saying it like that? Well, I made fun of Spaz and Sal for quite a while, and he blocked me on X, and then he unblocked me. Did a whole video on it, made fun of him, had to laugh at him. So he knows what I do here. Anybody who didn't know that Craig was coming back the second that he left Fox was just not paying attention, Licata said. My plan was never, I hope he doesn't come back. It was always, I got to do the best job that I can do with the opportunity I've been given. And I feel like I did. He did a good job, but once Carton was done with his little TV show, Licata was the low man on the totem pole. He was in trouble. Not so much Tierney, but him. Licata labored through grueling overnight shifts before finally seizing the midday shift with Tierney. Gunning for the coveted afternoon slot, Licata admitted that he was hurt to find out that the fan was bringing back Carton to host afternoon drive with current overnight host Chris McMonagle, a.k.a. the Psycho Killer. You ever see pictures of this guy, man? He looks like a killer from one of the Scream movies or whatever. It's really scary. Bumping Evan Roberts and Tiki Barber. Let me say this again. Uneven Evan Roberts and his husband Tiki Barber to the midday show, and leaving Licata and Tierney as the odd men out. I think originally the odd man out was Sal. I think Tierney might have survived this, but I think that a lot of stuff was up in the air. Craig Carton, while I factored in Craig coming back, did not factor in that no matter how well I performed, how much I put into this thing, how good we did as a show, or I did as an individual, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter, Spaz. There was nothing I could have done. Maybe I was naive and foolish about it, but yeah, obviously it hurts because I gave so much of my life to that place. Whether it be my first stint with them, whether it was coming back, starting part-time again on the overnights, then getting the full-time overnights, working my way to midday. Licata didn't blame the station for bringing back Carton, stressing that he carries great respect for his friends at the station, and wish them nothing but the best. They're your competitors. Okay, Sal, they're your competitors. You got the biggest knife mark in the back from your friend Craig Carton, and he's not your friend. Still, Licata said that he's ready to put his WFAN days behind him and won't be listened to at any time. Sal said that he's ready to put his WFAN days behind him and won't be listening in anytime soon. In other words, won't go around stalking his ex-girlfriend on Instagram. But the way I look at it is this: that part of my life and that part of my dream is over. Now I got to focus on a bigger dream, a different path. I love the fan, I always love the fan, but my future definitely is no longer WFAN. Spaz, the best thing you could do is build your own platform, build your own audience. Tierney's doing that. He's doing that. And if you're getting invited to Alex Rodriguez's Christmas party, you don't need WFAN. Spaz. Can I call you Spaz? You don't need that. You don't need them. What do you need them for? So you can lose your job, do a good job, and get fired anyway? And I thought that the insincerity of Craig Carton, just reading it, from the other day, because he was on Evan and Tiki's show on Friday, and he was on TV as well. It was simulcast on TV. I thought, just reading it, I didn't watch it, but I see how insincere some of the things he said. Very much form letter kind of stuff, things that he said about Sal and Tierney. Not good. He doesn't care that they lost their job. He really doesn't. If he had any feelings of that, he would have been a little more. I feel for them. Yeah, no, you don't. If you felt for them, you wouldn't have came back. You don't care. He just wants to come back and show he's the big guy on campus. I would mention he doesn't really care that the Fox show collapsed because it was canceled, because he always had WFAN on the side. And I said this in other videos, and I am very good at predicting people's behavior, to be honest with you. And Craig Carton is pretty easy to figure out. Okay, from what I've read and the things I've observed, going through different articles, he's very thin-skinned. I saw that there was a comment that Boomer Esiason had said about him a few years ago, and they had a little spat, the two of them. So I have a pretty good idea. He's extremely thin-skinned. Extremely thin-skinned. Don't let the smirk fool you. He's extremely thin-skinned. So he's gonna be a lot of fun talking about. It's gonna be a lot of fun talking about the icon. I couldn't have made that up. They put out a press release and they described him as the icon. They could have put him out as a WFAN legend, radio legend. They put him out icon. I have emphasized the con part of it. But Craig Carton is going to be a very fun subject to talk about. Got a thin-skinned guy. There's nothing better than making fun of a guy that's got thin skin. Now, your host has thick skin, believe it or not. I just don't like this sort of, I'll tell you a couple things I can't stand. People that leave me wall words, where it's like all these words, you got to read it, and they keep writing to me and writing to me and writing to me. I lose my patience. That stuff drives me crazy. Or they just make fun of me in some way that has nothing to do with what I talked about. That drives me nuts. But I'm very thick-skinned, to be honest with you. Nothing really bothers me. So I don't care what people say about me. But what's funny is when you have a thin-skinned guy and he can't take it. He likes to pretend that he can take it. But Craig Carton can't take it. That's some of the things I've read and just observations. He's very thin-skinned. He's very insecure. That's why he got himself in all that trouble that he got into and was in prison. And he really lays it on thick to the people he needs to lay it on thick of. What he said about them on the radio station, on Evan and Tiki the other day, that's form letter nonsense. He could have said that about anybody. He'd say anything in any kind of way that was meaningful. It was all bullshit. And again, I'll say this again. He's the first time around was 10 years on the van. Second time was 3 years, and I'll make a prediction. This is going to be over very quickly. So you better get ready, folks. He comes across as very unsteady and very unstable professionally. And we're going to find out. And this is a very unstable profession anyway, a talk show host on the radio. But thank you for watching this video. Of course, this is another, well, actually, it's not really, this is really a video about Sal Licata. Well, thank you for watching this video. And whenever I do these videos on WFAN, we always have the funny farm music because it's funny. I think it's hysterically funny. I don't know if anybody else does, but I know I do. But thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you later.